Is this a good time to buy real estate here in May 2017? Question I get asked all the time. People will say, well, gee, a lot of investors say your house equity is dead. It's a dead asset. You're not getting a return on it. It's a bad investment. A lot of people say, well, gee, I'm still emotionally drained from watching my parents lose their house in the last decade from all the real estate fraud and all this. I'm afraid of it. And they look at me and go, well, Williamson, you're a listing agent. Of course you're going to say buy real estate. I'm going to make more money. So we're going to watch a little video on Carol Rodoni here, who's the Bay Area expert on economy and real estate and all that such. But what I got today is my friend Jeremy Forcier.
Thanks for having me.
Senior Vice President, or more important to me, a loan broker, because he's good at it, for People's Home Equity. And how we got started as a listing agent, I say 8 out of 10 of my deals blow up because the buyer's loan broker drops the ball. Jeremy comes in and saves the day. As a matter of fact, now, don't correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm proud of this story.
I won't.
Okay.
I promise.
Okay. Is that was 2013 or 14, and I brought him so many loans as a listing agent for my deals blowing up. He flew me to Chicago to see a Cubs-Giant game, and I'm laughing, thinking, well, I should be flying him and his family to Hawaii or wherever they want to go because he saved so many of my deals. So, Jeremy, what do you think? Is this a good time to buy real estate?
Well, so first of all, thanks for having me. Super appreciate it. And it's a great question. The answer is depends. And I always think that. I mean, whether it was you asked me this question in 2008, 2010, today, I think that it always depends because there's so much going on in life all the time that it makes sense for different reasons at different times. So you have to have more context, I think, to that question as to why are you buying. I mean, if you're buying because you're just scared and that's it, no, it's probably a really bad reason to do anything out of just strictly fear, right? If you need to buy something because you need a place to live and your rent differential is not going to be that much more than owning a house, yeah, you should probably totally look at buying a place. If you know that you're going to be relocated for a job in 8 months, but you really want to buy right now, I don't know, maybe you should look at waiting those 8 months and buy when you relocate somewhere else. So the answer, in my opinion, is always, it depends. I mean, it always depends on unique situations, whether you're an investor, an owner-occupied, it doesn't really matter. It just depends on a greater amount of circumstances and situations that are going on in your life.
Well put. I wasn't expecting that.
You thought I was going to say yes.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Call me. You should
send me the money.
Yeah, no,
anyway,
not at all.
I got a real treat for you. I've got this videotape. I sat in on a seminar for Carol Rodoni, who is the San Francisco Bay guru for real estate economy. Just a fabulous and I've got about 5 or 6 minutes of video we're going to watch. So
she's awesome, by the way.
Just watch this.
You're in for a treat.
Now let me talk a little bit about this real estate market, some of the things that I think that you're experiencing. I was on a radio interview a couple of weeks ago with this woman in New York, and she was going to prep me for a few minutes to ask me some questions, and after I started listening to her, I thought, oh my God, this woman knows nothing about real estate. It's going to be a very bad session. Okay. So the first thing she says to me is, there's nothing affordable in the San Francisco Bay Area. Nobody can afford to live here. And I said to her, that's rather strange because I travel the highways all day and I see a lot of people in cars going someplace, so I assume they're all going someplace. I said to her, but one of the things that really frustrates me about you people in the media is you put these terms on things like there's a bubble, it's overvalued, nothing is affordable, and you do that for a whole huge area. We're 7 regions here in the San Francisco Bay Area, and you assume that's the market. Well, under those 7 regions, there's 9,000 markets by neighborhood, by price point, by location, by zip code, by price point, by exact da-da-da-da-da. So I said to her, let's start with affordability. If you are talking about basically San Francisco, which is Big Mama Papa, it's about $1,100 to $1,300 a square foot to live there. That's not affordable or unaffordable. It's the way it is. You have to have an income that matches that in order to live there. But you can go out to the suburbs, and you can go all kinds of places in the East Bay, to Antioch, to Concord. You can go to Brentwood, you can go to Hayward, you can go to Alameda, to Fremont, to Oakland, and it's not that. You can come over here and go to Novato and Marinwood and go up to Fairfax and those places, and it's not $1,100 to $1,300 a square foot. You can go down the peninsula, you can head down to certain areas in San Jose and Gilroy, Morgan Hill. You can be in Foster City, you can be in Redwood City, and it's not gonna be that price per square foot. So I said to her, it depends where you go, and it depends what you can afford against where you have to live. That's the key. I said that, she made me so mad that I think the second handout I gave you is a BART map. And the reason we have a BART map is it shows you every place that BART goes. Because she said to me after I said that, well, all those places are great, but nobody can get there. So I showed her, yes, people can get there. This is where BART goes, and this is the price per square foot of every city by there. Then she said to me, well, everything in the San Francisco Bay Area is overvalued. So I said to her, okay, let's discuss the word value. Value is the worth of something, what something is worth. It could be jewelry stocks, it could be bonds, it can be real estate. If something is overvalued, you usually have too much of it. Nobody wants it. You price it. They still don't want it. You lower the price, and they don't want it because they don't think it has any value. I said, well, let's talk about our real estate market. We have none, we have none, we have none. Everybody seems to want it. People are running after it. And in many markets, they're even willing to fight to get in, and they're even willing to pay over what people have listed it for in order to get in. So we can say it's valuable, but I don't think you can say it's overvalued. And then on that page with the BART, below that, I listed for you a study done by Realtor.com. It was a survey of the last 10 years in real estate, and it listed what were the 12 or the 20 top metro markets in the nation. 12 of them were in California. Hottest markets, not overvalued. And if you go down that list, you're going to see a lot of them that you know. So you're going to see, obviously, San Francisco, San Jose, Santa Cruz is on that list. But look at the ones you're going to see. You're going to see Stockton, Modesto. Number one, Vallejo, if you could believe that, they were in bankruptcy 3 years ago. So look at that list. We made 12 out of the top 20. So who is she to say that we're overvalued? What she should have said is we're a hell of a valuable place to buy real estate. This is a good thing. So then the next question she said to me is, well, do you think it's a good time to buy real estate? Am I not getting through to this woman or what? I said to her, well, that's the wrong question. I said, the right question is, why wouldn't anybody want to buy real estate? Let's talk about it. Number one, let's look at it as an asset. I know people buy residential real estate because they want to live there, the school district, it's memories, it's all that wonderful emotional stuff. But let's just take it as an asset for the moment. First of all, you're getting in at a very low interest rate today, even if we're at 4.5%. I understand free money's gone, but you still have inexpensive money. If I bought a house for $600,000, and I bought it in 2002, and I paid 7%, and it was a 30-year, 25% down, no funny loan, I'm going to have a payment of about $4,000 a month. Of that, basically, 9% is going to pay down my loan, and all the rest is going to go to the bank. Today, because I don't have to pay 7%, same house, same loan, I'm only paying 4.5%. My payment is $1,000 less a month. That's money I get to keep. And when you make that payment to the bank, 27% goes to pay down your loan, and only the balance goes to the bank. So the fact that you have low interest rates and you can get into an asset that's appreciating means it's like compounding, and my gosh, you're making wealth much faster than you would if interest rates were high. The second thing is, because they call this the American dream, the government has given us so many benefits on real estate that they don't give on other assets. So you go in, you have a mortgage, up to $1.1 million. They still allow you to deduct the interest on that money. Property taxes, if you're not living here and they don't take that all away from you, you get to deduct your property taxes. And if you live in it 2 out of 5 years as your principal residence, you can walk away with $250,000 or $500,000 totally tax-free of any gain.
So yeah, based on that, it seems like, can you afford not to buy today in this real estate economy? There's this old adage about if you can find a house that you like, that you can afford, buy it. That's a saying for decades. The problem is, it's just not that easy anymore. There's a lot of work and stuff you got to do. So anyway, Jeremy, what do you think? Is this a good time to buy after watching Carol, or?
Yeah, I mean, so my answer always will be, once again, depends. But yes, I mean, Carol was phenomenal. I mean, she made some incredible points. I haven't heard it worded quite that way before, but especially talking about value, being overvalued, undervalued, or whatever it may be. I couldn't agree with her anymore. I mean, is it a great time to buy for you? I mean, the answer is yes, if you need a place to live and you want to live there for an extended period of time, and you can afford the monthly payments, absolutely, it's an excellent time to buy.
That's a question that should have been asked about 15 years ago, 2002, 2003. Can you afford it?
I couldn't agree more.
1.9% teaser rate, we can afford it for 6 months if we pack all our house with roommates. My thinking is that if you can afford it and you're buying for the long term,
yes.
I mean, I've worked with investors and speculators, developers, flippers, and yes, they make some money. Usually they make the money on the guy who's not as smart as them.
Right.
The guy that thinks they're smart, they're the ones that usually blow it first. But the way they make their money is in the appreciation. While they're in planning or in construction, that house goes up 10 or 20%.
Right.
That's where they're making their money.
Right. So I mean, I think that yes, on an investor side, that's an easier conversation about like, does it make sense or not?
That's just the numbers,
right? Yeah, because it's just strictly numbers. It's like, what's the cash flow going to be if I'm going to hold it, right? Or what's the upside if I improve it to X? So that's a little bit more clear cut. But for everyone else, because that makes up a pretty small percentage of the overall purchases that happen. And as stuff does get more expensive, not undervalued or overvalued, but as stuff gets more expensive, I think that people start to question those margins. It gets more difficult, right? Unless you live here where we do, and rents just keep going up higher and higher, just as prices do. So
I'm seeing rents start to just take a little
finally. Well, they need to. I mean, that would be great, but yes, I think it's a phenomenal time to buy right now, to answer. I have the same conversation with every single one of my clients that ask me this question. I don't shy away from it at all. I mean, I think it's pretty simple. It's what do you budget for your monthly payment? What is your income? And what are your other expenses? And if you can fit the monthly payment into your monthly budget and still have money left over at the end of the month, yeah, it's a great time to buy. Because the one thing that people never talk about, outside of your tax write-off, which is phenomenal, right? Outside of the fact that it could go up in value, it's not guaranteed to, but history has proven that it does go up long-term, right? No matter what. But even if it doesn't, that's not guaranteed either, is that you're also paying down a loan with an extremely low interest rate. So you have sweat equity and then you have appreciation, right? You have what you're paying every single month, which is forced savings. And as you probably know, in America, we're not very good at saving on our own. So I think it's another great vehicle that's really inexpensive that helps create wealth. So yes, if you can afford it, you can budget it. And I want to talk about the budget for 1 second too, Mike, if you don't mind. A huge issue that I see is that no one does a personal family budget. Just nobody. I mean, I ask so many people, especially first-time home buyers, what are you looking to spend on a monthly basis? And they always say, oh, I don't know. I didn't think about that. And it's fascinating to me because we've trained everyone to go, I want to know how much I can afford, okay? Well, how much you can approve someone to sometimes might be very, very different than what they think they can afford based on their monthly budget. So I find that forcing people to at least think about a monthly budget, we have a personal monthly budget that we are happy to give anyone at any time and help them with it so they can really see, like, what does my outlay look like on a monthly basis.
So you have that just available so they can log into your website?
Absolutely. I can make that available for anyone. Okay. It's an Excel piece of paper. It's really simple, but very, very effective. And I think it's a great place to start for people to understand affordability versus max qualification, because you still have to live, right? You still have to be able to buy groceries and not have to rent rooms like you said before and stuff like that. So with all that said, though, the good news with this market is that, let me ask you this question. I'm sure you get it a lot. Do you think values are going to go down? Right? Do you get that question?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What's the future?
What's going to happen?
Where is it going? And you know what? I'm going to answer that question in another video.
Good.
Just as I want to ask you right now, well, what can people do to get prepared if they're ready to get in the market? There's a lot of things you can do to give as a listing agent. It just irritates me to have buyers come in and they have a lousy loan brokerage,
right,
and a lousy cover letter, and it just hurts me because I don't know if the buyers are really qualified or not.
Mm-hmm.
And if we got multiple offers, they're not getting the deal.
Right.
And maybe they're the right person. I just don't know. So, but I want to ask you that. But let's do another video on that.
That sounds great.
Yeah,
That
okay.
sounds great. Absolutely. Yeah. So, what can people do to prepare? Is that
They can
what
call
your
you,
question
what they
was?
can do.
Well, you can call me.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. If you want to get ready to get into this market, call Jeremy. So how are they gonna get a hold of you, Jeremy?
Easiest way, I'll give you 3 different ways to get a hold of me. Cell phone, 415-717-7155. You can call me, you can text me there, it's perfectly fine. Email is jforcier, that's JFORCIER, at peopleshomeequity.com. Or you can just visit my website at jeremyforcier.com.
Great, Jeremy. Always a pleasure hanging out with you.
Thanks so much, my man.
And I'll tell you, if I see his name on your loan broker thing on one of my listings, you're at the top of the pile.
Awesome. Look forward to
Great
taking
to
care of
see
you.
you.
Thanks for having me.
Take care.